Now, I left off talking about how do we protect our children from being bullied, given the critical example where this child was mentioned. Some went as far as mentioning the name of this child. And even if this particular child leaves their school, you go into another environment, the identity is already created around the child. So how do you kind of help to change the public perception of this particular child so that he does not live under the impression of a bully or being bullied?
You see, this particular case, unfortunately, it has come out to social media. I tend to say we have social media uncles, aunties, grandparents, and judges, call it whatever, keyboard warriors. If you don't want them to be involved in your matter, don't bring the matter to them. Because the moment you do, you have no control over how people will treat the situation. So how can we change public perception about a young girl that is under 10 years old? It's a challenging one because human beings are not robots. You cannot tell them how to behave, how to feel, or how to react. There will always be some on the side of the family, and there will be some on the side of the school. There will be some that will be neutral. So it is something that is going to be very challenging in whatever environment that the child goes. As long as the story is known, some people will agree, some people will not agree. That is just how it has to be. That's the way it will be. So I don't know how it's going to. When you go to a school and it's sterile, they will help, you know. They will help. Then maybe the classmates are aware of it or something. They can talk about it and say, okay, it's a new start and things like that. Counselors are involved. All that kind of thing is involved. But public perception, you really cannot control it.
All right, thank you. Because, you know, you deal a lot with children. The child is now depressed, and the child is now exhibiting symptoms of depression, and they vary. At this point in time, what can the parent do, and what can the school do at this point?
Okay, so a child that is bullied, if the parent is paying attention, if the teacher is paying attention, you would notice that the child is acting in a way that is not typical. So it could be that the child is not eating as much or even overeating. It could be that the child wants to be alone. It could be that the child is acting out. They manifest in different ways. So the parent, the child, they need to pay attention. The teacher needs to pay attention. And they need to begin to have those conversations. They can be withdrawn sometimes because when a child is bullied, they are threatened. So say, for example, cyberbullying. If you do this, I will send your nude picture out. So you need to let the child understand that they can trust you. The reason why a lot of children don't come out and say, I am being bullied, is because they do not find the adults trustworthy. They feel the same. Is it only because of that? Or look at the way you disgrace the family. Look at it always backfires, and they feel as if they are victims or they've let somebody down. So when your child has an issue, let them find you as someone they can trust. If you are their teacher, let them find you as someone they can trust. It may even be the one that have done something wrong, but still let them be someone that you can trust. It's not the time I said, didn't I tell you so? No. Okay, it has happened. This is what we are going to do about it. So if that child has an avenue of communication and they have an individual that they can trust, then they will spill up and they will say what is happening before it gets really bad. We need to nip it in the bud. Don't wait until it's so bad. You keep saying, oh, for the past 3 weeks, you have not been eating well. No, it's too far. It's better for you to crush the ant than for you to try and deal with the elephant. As soon as you see that your child is manifesting a different behavior, the grades are falling in school, or different things are happening to the child, then you begin to observe. I tell parents, I advise parents that for every child you have, you must have a journal. Have a diary, jot something down, because even when it comes to the point where you need to deal with a psychologist or a counselor, you must have history. You won't just say, since last month, the child, no, you would have a track record. And that's why I tell people that the more children you have, the more work you have to do. Parenting is not about just giving birth to children, feeding them and sending them to school. You must treat them like a business. You must have a vision, a mission for that child. You must understand the personality type of that child. You must know everything about that child. So when those issues are happening, you must have in your diary that this has happened over time and I need intervention. And parents should not feel that they can always solve every problem. not every parent, in fact, many parents are not equipped to solve problems. They always come from an emotional and an inexperienced point of view, and they don't handle it well. Ordinary this, yeah. Ordinary. When I was in school, you see the way the seniors used to beat me. They're just doing, the girls are busy, you're ready. You need to be tough. You need to be tough. You know all this rubbish. No, that is why they don't want to talk to you, because they are thinking, what type of parents is this one? They would rather go and talk to somebody else, and that somebody else could be the wrong person.
Now, let's look at this other aspect, Ronka, talking about the schools driving for the economy, the need for money, and also talking about protecting the child. She just gave an analysis where you hardly find a situation whereby parents even know that there is a contract to sign about the child rights and all that. Now, how do we draw a line, talking about educating our school proprietors and educating our teachers to understand that, look, it is your responsibility to play the role of a parent and also of a teacher, because the child spends most of their growing up life in the school environment. Now, we have a situation whereby you employ teachers into school, not because they are qualified, but because you just want to have them in there and be able to make enough money. So where do we draw the line to make sure that we do the right things?
It's like regulation. We just need regulatory bodies. That's what we need.
Interesting.
It's as simple as that, because you find that domestic workers, cleaners become teachers in schools, secondary school graduates become teachers in school. So what do you expect? If something is not managed, it will be abused. And that's what we have, the abuse of the educational system. That's what's happening in Nigeria. So we must prioritize. The government must prioritize. The reason private schools are doing an amazing job, because they've actually saved the nation. It could be a lot worse. So call school owners whatever you want, but if they didn't exist and the government are still doing what they are doing, imagine the state of the nation. So they do have a part to play, but the government needs to pick up the pieces. We need more schools. As many schools as we have, we don't have enough schools. We need more schools. We need regulatory bodies, so that we need proper teacher training. All those you got taught class, go and do teaching. You don't have anything else sitting at home, go and teach. Those are not the people. Think about it. If the people that are not doing well are the people that are teaching your children, who will they raise? If the people that have poor grades and have no vision, mission, if the people that are already feeling so terrible about their own lives are the people that are raising your children, who will they raise? And for the parents that treat teachers badly, when you treat those teachers badly, how will they raise your children? In love? So we must understand that the role of a teacher is very, very important. And you as a teacher must understand that your role is very, very important as a teacher. It's local parentis. You are the parent of the child. Now, is it the proper way? How do you treat the parent of the child? How do you see yourself as a teacher, as an educator, as a house help? Even a house help has self-esteem. Even house help these days, many of them are earning more than some teachers. The teachers need a mindset makeover. They need to know who they are. And they need to stand their ground. Teachers must stand their ground. Educators, school owners, they must go through training. What is happening in school and teacher training is not enough. When they come into your school, they need training, they need orientation. They need a mindset shift. They don't come and bow down to parents. I'm a parent too. So I have my child in school. So there's a way that you must have self-esteem as a teacher. They can't come to you and then you are shaking. Why are you shaking? You are the mom. You are the dad in the school. So you must have confidence, you must have self-esteem. If your teachers can't even look a parent in the face, there's a problem. But unfortunately, those are the kind of people that a lot of parents like in the schools. And they call them auntie. I was even going to say that anybody that is calling auntie or uncle, a teacher auntie or uncle, it's an error. There's no auntie in any school, and there's no uncle in any school, because that alone opens doors for sexual abuse.
So what do we have?
We have Miss Runke. We have Miss Mercy. We have Mr. David.
Shaking the tables here. Shaking the tables.
All right. All right. I really like the subject matter. But let's still stay with the role of the government in this whole matter, because I know regulation is really important at this stage, so that we can have a proliferation of better ideas like this across board in every part of the school. Before I go to Praise, let me just stay with you one bit on how teachers can form a pressure group and let the government understand that this is what we want. Because most times, education is being relegated to the background. How much do we have in the budget for education? they don't take teachers' education seriously. See the government secondary schools we have, see the government primary schools that we have, dilapidated structures, the furnitures are nowhere. I see people pupils sitting on the ground, and I'm moved to tears. But there is so much that Mercy can do. I can't save everybody. The need for educators.
Pressure groups you talked about. What is the NUT doing? It's supposed to be a pressure group.
So this one that you even said, I'm already weak. This one that you just opened up, because this is one that gets me very emotional. Because part of the reason why I moved to this Lagos is this educational system. This issue is a trending issue. How many voices of educators are you hearing? There should be a hashtag going on right now. But no, educators are there looking at blogs, addicted to things that do not matter. Some of them, you don't blame them anyway, because some of them are just trying to make a living. If some of them are earning 15,000 naira, they don't even have the data to even know what is going on right now. So they even need to be empowered. They need to be paid well. It's so important. The government needs to do a lot. Private school owners also need to do a lot to ensure that these teachers are whole. It is now your responsibility. So I am not just an employer. I am also a parent to the people that work with me, whether they're older than me or not. I must do my bit as a human being to make sure that the people that work with me are not people that are oppressed. The typical teacher is oppressed, and that is the reason why you cannot hear their voices. They don't want to say anything. Now, I don't know what is going on in this particular case. I'm not, like I said at the beginning, I'm not on the side of the parent or the teacher, just the child. But look at the spin, the turnaround. From a very confident, beautiful looking teacher to someone that is crying. And did bullying go on? I don't know. I'm not saying it did. I'm just saying what went on. We need, because that kind of teacher, if he comes to my school, I will beg borrow still to have that teacher. I will, because she speaks up. Well, I'm not saying she's right, but she speaks up. We are not speaking up. Right now, education should be, they should be this pressure group. They should be the ones saying that follow process, follow procedure, school policy, this one and that one, no social media in our schools, or something like that. Whatever it is, that is what they should be doing. This day and age, all those pressure groups is not even what is working. What is working is social media. But many of them are on Facebook free mode because they don't have data.
But if the teachers are not speaking, who will speak for the teachers?
Exactly. Is that not why we do what we do? That is why Praise does what he does. That is why I do what I do. We're constantly coming out there talking, trying to use our voices, trying to even look good so that teachers will know that it is possible for you to look good as a teacher. They are bullied, their haircut, their dress code, their everything. People want to dictate it. Parents want to dictate what the teacher should look like, but they want to look good and slay on Instagram, but they want the teachers to look like miserable people. We say no.
I like that. We say no to that.
Victim, probably he's been bullied, or he's bullying another child. Now, how do we begin to show up the confidence? Because, like you rightly said, it's a cycle. It goes round, and that is probably the reason why we keep having the problems in the system with the nation called Nigeria. Now, to start dealing with this issue, a child that is bullied, how can the teachers, how can the society begin to work on that particular child so that he can become a better and a more balanced citizen?
So we have to get to the core of the bullying, the reason why the bullying happened, the effects. So that's why a professional might need to be the person to do it. So, but a teacher can even do simple, if it's not extreme, a teacher can do simple things like ensuring that they affirm the child and the child does their own affirmation on a daily basis. If the child is someone that is no longer confident in speaking, you can help them with simple public speaking within the school environment. You know, whatever the issue is, you try and allow that child to face that demon little by little, and you track the progress. And that's why I'm not an advocate of large class sizes, because the typical Nigerian teacher that has from 20 to 100 to 300 children, how are you going to profile every child, sit down and say, oh, okay, I want to know how you're doing, that issue that you had, what's the progress that we are making? You know, you track those milestones like a project manager. A teacher can't do that because the teacher is already overwhelmed. But ideally, that's what the teacher should be able to do. So you have this issue, it's like a wound, it's healing, it's drying up, you're moving and you're tracking it. The child is giving you feedback. But no, it's maths and English, we just mark. The role of the curriculum is not just the content. It's an experience. How do you handle the experience from start to finish from a child? So if we talk about schools, a lot of people talk about, when I was in secondary school, they beat me, the seniors, this. That is the curriculum for you. That is the experience. That is what stood out for you. When they ask you about formulas or anything, you can't remember, but you can remember how the seniors bullied you. That is the experience that you were given. That is the content, the curriculum. So if the class sizes are smaller in schools, and if parents understand that the smaller class sizes, because remember they say, oh, I'm looking for competition for my children. In this Nigeria, our own demands are different. Let us customize it, our own learning. A teacher that is earning 20,000 naira with 20 children in the classroom, they are still looking for how they are going to sell vegetable and something so that they can make ends meet. Your child is not what they are going to sit down and say, oh, let me provide this child and see the issues that the child, they don't even know that your child has problem. They'll just write where they are gone. So we need to reduce the pressure on the teacher. We need to also pay them well so that they can be able to focus on the job that they are doing. They're not hustling up and down. And the teacher as well, there are things that you can do within your classroom and become a millionaire. You don't have to be running up and down. The minute you have somebody in your care, you need to understand that you have the life of that child in your hands. You can destroy the foundation of somebody's life by being careless. So there's no room for being careless when you have somebody's life in your hands. And if parents, you understand that the life of their children are in an individual's hands, then probably you will treat them better. But we don't get it. They just think it's somebody that they hired. After all, I've paid school fees. We don't get it.
This is a perfect definition of it takes a village to train a child. Because when I used to hear that, I just think probably the community where you just grew up in. So
just like he has redefined it.
It has been redefined. You have to choose your village. Your village is not just anybody that is on the street and just say, oh, the village, anybody can do anything to your child.
You have to choose your village.
Especially now, especially in this generation that we live in, is it anybody that can tamper with your child? You have to be intentional about even the friends that your children have in school. So they have to have a tribe.
So Ronke, your child comes in and says, Mommy, I don't want to go to school today. Does that probably next week, Monday. I don't want to go to school today. Why? Nothing. Does that again. What do you do as a parent?
So you as a parent, if my child says she don't want to go to school, my daughter has actually said it before, and I kept her at home. That is not to say that anytime she says she doesn't want to go to school, I will keep her at home. I know my child very, very well, in and out. I spend that much time with her, so I understand. Why don't you want? I'm tired. She was genuinely tired. The workload was immense.
So the bottom line, you know your child.
I know my child. So she wasn't trying to skive and she wasn't being bullied or nothing like that was happening. So if a child doesn't want to go to school, find out why your child doesn't want to go to school. It's not you're going to say, you're just be lazy. You know, we make assumptions. We automatically assume, why are you going to go to school? They can't miss you. Do you know what I'm paying in school fees? You must go to school. I have to go to work. No, stop. Stop. If you're a few minutes late, it's okay. Because that's the most important person right now. You don't want to go to school. Can you tell mommy why? And that child, if that child trusts you, will tell you. If the child does not trust you, they will not tell you. They will say they don't feel like telling them. They don't just feel like going to school. Because there's always a reason why a child does not want to go to school. And sometimes it may be new in the environment. It may just be fear or maybe that separation anxiety or anything. It could not be, every time the child says they're not going to school, it doesn't mean that something dramatic is going on. Because I see on social media when they say the child doesn't want to go to school, they say, I'm going to that school, maybe they're abusing the child, the teacher. You know, everything is the teacher. See, I mind yourself. Okay. So, all right, okay, let me. So, please, if your child does not want to go to school, find out the reason why. If the pattern continues, have a conversation with the teacher to say, when the child is in school, how do they behave? Because many children will tell you at home they don't want to go to school. When they get to school like this, the minute they close that gate, the child is on the playground, tearing everywhere apart, having fun. Sometimes in the morning, maybe they're just low on energy. Okay. Everything is not a big deal. Let's be calming down. Parents.
I like that. Let's be calming down. Just like that smart boy told his mom.
That's exactly where I got it from.
Just be
calming down. Thank you, Ronke Posh, as always.
Thank you
for standing in for the teachers at all times. Thank you so much for giving us a platform conversation.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we do hope the lives of our children get better so they can make a better future for every one of us in Nigeria.